All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justin Green. I'm a program manager with U.S. Forest Service, Asia-Pacific team, and I'm our South Asia team lead, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the U.S. Forest Service and the capacities that we have internationally and domestically, and some of the inclusive models to land management that we're using in South Asia. Well, U.S. Forest Service is a land management agency under the U.S. Department of Agriculture that manages 78 million hectares or 193 million acres of the U.S.'s deserts, grasslands, forests, recreation areas, and water systems. And we use this, we do this land management using a multiple use land management approach, which means that we maintain healthy terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems while also considering the production of resources, of economic goods, and use to people in the United States. So it's not solely conservation, but also looks at things like recreation, timber production, mineral extraction, clean water, etc. The motto of the Forest Service is caring for the land and serving people. And this phrase really embodies the balance and the importance of finding balance between the environmental, social, and economic aspects of land management. The Office of International Programs is administratively situated underneath the Office of the Chief and has a wide variety of technical, programmatic, and operational areas of expertise. And in this capacity, it allows IP to serve as a liaison between the domestic Forest Service and our partners abroad in order to engage in international technical cooperation programs. Within our activities, we try to maintain an ethic of diversity, equity, inclusion in our management programs. And this is very important, not only for general social justice, but also for the success of land management activities. We found that you can't really manage land unless you engage people at all levels, socially and at all different scales and systems levels within a society. So it's very important to work with all people, and we try to bring this to all of our activities internationally and domestically. We're currently working in over 90 countries internationally, and the reason why we engage in these international global technical cooperations because today's forestry programs require a global approach. Ecosystems don't adhere to national boundaries, and it requires us all kind of collaborating to learn from each other to overall increase the awareness and understanding and effectiveness of land management programs globally. Within this, within our programs internationally, we partner with a lot of U.S. government agencies, and we work government to government with foreign governments, with international organizations, research institutions, and community groups, civil society organizations, and throughout the social spectrum to try to get the widest range of partners to ensure the success of our programs. So why do forests matter in the first place? And one of the main reasons is forest destruction. Forest degradation accounts for over a quarter of greenhouse gas emissions in the world. So maintaining healthy forests, maintaining healthy ecosystems is in effect sequestering more carbon and decreasing the amount of carbon emissions. Soil is said to be able to sequester up to 4 times that of the terrestrial plant and animal ecosystems that we know of. And blue carbon, which is very much an emerging area of interest, has been said to be able to sequester even more than terrestrial carbon. So natural resource management, forestry, and land management overall is a direct source of carbon sequestration, and to maintain healthy ecosystems decreases carbon emissions globally. And when you look at adaptation strategies, overall, with natural resource management, what they really come down to at the end of the day is controlling the direction of succession. Whether you're planting trees to increase carbon sequestration and forest cover, or whether you're engaging in controlled burns to reduce carbon sequestration or to reduce the threat of forest fire, controlling the direction of succession is really the goal of all forest-based adaptation plans. And in order to do this, it's really important to have strong, reliable data that not only looks at the needs of today, but projects in a changing climate. What would make sense in 20 years? What is this ecosystem gonna look like as climate changes and as the ecosystem adapts in order to manage forward for future conditions? And doing this requires a wide range of thematic areas and partners, again, bringing in multiple actors from different systems levels within a society, within a land management agency, and within a overall land management approach, including the biophysical, which is your direct land management data, your ecological data, your social factors can't be more important, because it's really the society and the communities that are going to maintain this land management approach in the future. After programs end, you still need actors and stakeholders to carry forward the goals and the activities of the program, and the economic drivers to fund work, to have it be economically viable and have there be an economic incentive to those actors, as well as that long-term management and leadership approach from government levels and institutional levels. Some of the programs that Forest Service works with internationally focus directly on climate change. Just a few here. The Civil Carbon Program works directly to improve the collection and data and analysis of national forest inventory, forest carbon, and carbon sequestration for UNF, CCC reporting, and REDD+ reporting. SWAMP, the Sustainable Wetlands Adaptation and Mitigation Program, is a program that really looks at blue carbon. It looks at wetlands, mangroves, and other coastal ecosystems to learn more and to improve the knowledge base within universities, institutions of how to manage coastal ecosystems. And throughout South Asia, Forest Service works in multiple countries that relate to the Bay of Bengal. In Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh, we manage disaster management programs that work at a government-to-government level to improve the national capacity on incident command system or incident management system that helps to coordinate responders on scene at any disaster response. These programs are funded by USAID, Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance, and look to kind of institutionalize this ICS response system. We also have law enforcement programs that are active throughout Asia-Pacific and the globe. And in Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, the programs focus more on ranger training and institutional capacity for enforcement of combating wildlife trafficking, environmental law enforcement. And in India, we're working on a wood identification screening program that should helpfully improve the understanding of the source and the origin of different wood species. All of these are important to undercut the black market sale of wildlife products and illegal logging materials. Specifically in Bangladesh, I want to focus on one of our programs here called Community Partnerships to Strengthen Sustainable Development, or COMPASS. This is a USAID-funded program and an interagency agreement between USAID and U.S. Forest Service. It's a 5-year program that really focuses on improving the institutional capacity to sequester carbon, to increase forest cover, increase tree cover, improve data accuracy and transparency within the nation. And it works with multiple different stakeholders in order to do this. The first component that we have is the Youth Conservation Corps program that's based on the Forest Service and the United States' Job Corps program, which is designed to take students from disadvantaged backgrounds and really teach them the soft skills on leadership and interpersonal communication to improve employability. And our Youth Conservation Corps Bangladesh program is really the first of its kind. The ultimate goal is to improve employability and increase workforce readiness amongst the youth. And we have 40 students that come through on 5-month residential training programs. It's men and women. And we really try to address those needs of improving employability skills, going through vocational trainings and on-the-job learning, while also teaching soft skills like leadership, interpersonal communication, punctuality, all those things that really help us to maintain our career long-term. And some of the activities that we draw from are everything from agriculture to first aid. We work directly with communities, community assessment, and the goal is to really help to create environmental stewards and youth that want to take action at a community level to make a difference in their nation. We're also working on a forest landscape restoration activity in Chittagong Hill Tracts. And this is, again, one of the first of its kind. We conducted a year-long robust assessment where we look at everything from the biophysical to the social aspects of forest landscape restoration. And this is really a combination between scientific skills and traditional knowledge and a blending of these. We're starting on a 1,000 hectare pilot, but it can be scaled up to over 48,000 hectares, which was the original range of our assessment. And this is looking at bringing in assisted natural regeneration, forest reforestation using local species, intermixing with agricultural plots, alternative income generating activities, working with the community, democracy and governance, working with women's groups, with youth, engaging the local governance structures within the region, and working with a lot of local experts and organizations like Arnak Foundation, Tajing Dong, Chittagong University, and many other technical experts, as well as the Bangladesh Forest Department. And we have an ongoing collaboration with the Bangladesh Forest Department. These are technical cooperations that focus on remote sensing, satellite imagery support, supporting the National Forest Inventory, GIS and GPS applications, forest mapping skills, and these are direct technical cooperation programs with the Bangladesh Forest Department, which have been a long-term partner of Forest Service since prior to 2009. We're also really stepping into urban forestry. We're working with a program called iTree, which is a Forest Service developed tool that helps to map and quantify and evaluate the value of urban trees in an urban setting. And it does this looking at pollution data, precipitation data, stormwater runoff, the cooling effect. And we work with students, with volunteers, NGOs, the Bangladesh Forest Department, local government, to have the most buy-in and the most capacity building to where iTree can actually be used to create a political imperative for decision-making and informed policy. We also work with a number of academic institutions, including Chittagong University, Khulna University, SUST, and many others from Bangladesh Forestry Research Institute. And our attempt is to try to work with institutions to train the next crop of foresters. So by the time they enter the professional workforce, they've already had all the skills that are needed in Bangladesh for modern forestry and natural resource management. And within all of these, we engage in a international cooperation, regional exchange program throughout South Asia and with the United States to try to develop a lot of cross-cultural, cross-boundary collaboration between research institutions, researchers, universities. We have an ongoing collaboration with the University of New Hampshire. We work with esteemed and the Forest Service on these programs. And all of these various components of Compass, they interlink not only the participants, but also the institutions and the technical expertise. It's a blending of all of the results as well to have the most coherent, cohesive, and inclusive management model that we can. Here are some climate change resources if anybody would be interested, and the organizers will have this presentation later, so you can always use those links. And really just want to thank you for your time. And with that, I'll close it out and look forward to hearing from the rest of the panel. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Justin Green. Now, I will take questions from the audience about this presentation. Before you ask the question, just introduce yourself very briefly.
It's unfortunate that this is the second panel where there has been no female participation. I just want to point out that we are half the world. We give birth to the entire world, so I think our opinions matter. To the point, thank you. It's just ridiculous, 2022, we have manels one after another. But I was really interested in your presentation, Mr. Green or Dr. Green. So the Rohingya, the large population of Rohingyas in Cox's Bazar has resulted in just massive devastation. You have wildlife that used to have forested homes, of course, interacting where they hadn't been previously. Are you guys doing anything in Cox's Bazar to try to help restore this environmental devastation?
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. It's, well, thank you very much for your question. Yes, our Youth Conservation Corps program is actually based in Cox's Bazar. One of the reasons for that was the devastating effect on the host communities and the youth who definitely have a bigger issue as they look forward in their futures with the land degradation. A lot of the traditional income generating activities, agriculture activities have kind of been interfered with. So we hope that in that program we can find some alternative income generating activities for youth, that they can find employment. We often, that demographic are youth that have not completed secondary school, and the professional directions that we look at are often entrepreneurial. It's sometimes informal employment, things that they can do on their own, that they can find a business for. And, there's a lot of USAID funded programs that are working within the Cox's Bazar region. Some of our work is focused on Chittagong Hill Tracts. We do, through our Youth Conservation Corps programs, work on some community assessments, working on forest landscape restoration or just general community support around the area. We don't have specific programs that are doing reforestation in Cox's Bazar, though. But a lot of our programs, we hope, as we're based nationwide, our youth that are coming out of the program will engage in their communities, become environmental stewards, and hopefully with the alternative income generating activity support can find a livelihood for themselves as they move forward. Yeah, but it's a major issue. I mean, the answers I think will just take decades to really come about. Thank you for your question. I couldn't agree more. And I don't think any of us planned on this. It's just that. Thank you very much for noting that, though.
We'll take that question first. Then
Yes,
you-
yes, please.
Yes.
I am Dr. Mohan Kumar Das.
First, introduce yourself.
Yes,
First.
I am Dr. Mohan Kumar Das. I am the Executive Director of National Oceanographic and Maritime Institute, that is called NOAMI. So, actually, one of my questions already covered by the madam. She actually nicely focused the area, Rohingya area. Actually, I am from Cox's Bazar. And another is the San Martin Island, and that is also important because of the huge tourist intervention. But my question is related to the mangrove forest, because all of you know that during the tropical cyclone, mangrove forest gives us a very huge protection, and lost coastal people get the protection because of that. But due to human intervention, that region is very much vulnerable. So, what is the present status? But have you done any kind of study on that? But do you have any plan on that? And I have seen all of your study, what you already focused in many areas of the country, really very, very good. So I think lots of data you already been archived. So if some researcher needs those data in future for their anticipated action related study or any other kinds of loss and damage study, is it freely available for others? That's my submission to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, mangroves are a huge storm surge protection ecosystem, very important. And one of the areas we're working on in our Compass program is on ecosystem valuation of different ecosystems within Bangladesh. We have some of our staff here that are working on it. Dr. Jinia in the back is she's leading up the process. And one of the ecosystems that we look at is mangroves and the support that it can have to buffer storms. The idea is that if we can show that help to develop a methodology that can be accepted at the national level to evaluate and evaluate ecosystem services, that the ministry will be able to vie for more funds for protection and for reforestation. So that's one area that we're looking at. Your second question was about data availability, and that ecosystem services valuation database has actually been put on the Bangladesh Forest Department's website. And I believe the idea is that it will be readily available and usable. It'll be user-friendly and easy for folks to use data on that. For iTree as well, that's open source data. And we do hope to have that data available. The National Forest Inventory is in the hands of Bangladesh Forest Department. So as they release that data, then it can be used at academic and public, by the public. So data transparency is very important, and we hope everything that we do will move towards that. Thank you.
Thank you. We are running short of time. We are actually 5 minutes over the. So I will take just one question. Please introduce yourself and ask
Thank
your
you very
question
much.
briefly.
Okay, I'm Professor Kamrul Hassan. I teach environmental ethics at Jahangirnagar University. My question is related to ethical issue. Basically, axiological model for environmental policy afford the issue of value, right? So we have a humanistic sequence that start from value market price to human welfare, collective value. The other dimension is organismic value and environmental value. So my question is, how do you address this issue of value when you run your forestry program or something like that? I mean, value in the sense, just I want to add one more point to this. Sustainable development normally involves 3 pillars, we all know: economic, social, and environmental. But the question is, a sustainable development could be still unethical, although sustainable. You know that you can undermine a group, a species of animal when you can satisfy need of fish, for example, tuna fish, right? So you can sustainably cultivate or continue working on this project, but tuna fish is causing damage to other species, right? So there is an issue of animal rights.
Would you
Although it
please
is-
make it short because we are running out of time.
Although this is sustainable in a very ordinary sense of United Nations, but still it is undermining the value of a particular species. I mean, another species of fish, right? So how do you address this? What is your take on this? Thank you.
I mean, it's a kind of difficult question theoretically. I think we work more on capacity building, training with individuals. If we were doing a actual field-based intervention, then we would do a full-scale environmental assessment ahead of time and work with local experts. So it's not Forest Service coming in and implementing. We're working with local experts. We're working with communities and trying to design a program to fit all the needs of the individuals at hand. And so it's really just a matter of being cognizant and, you know, as a land management agency, we definitely understand the importance of environmental assessments and protecting all species, not just our main goal, but looking at, you know, what happens down the chain.